Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Arpehon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not playing in the talk, please discuss.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
Good evening, Africa. My name is Bamakore, actor, model, producer, and I'm giving a big shout out to VOP TV, man. Keep watching. Don't change the dial. Thank you and God bless you.
My name is AY.
In a nation full of questions,
in a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
My name is Tao Familoni, and here's to VOP TV. Keep watching, stay tuned, do not touch that dial.
My name is Made Kuti, and you're watching VOP TV. Keep watching.
Welcome, my name is Zika Davis. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys, viewers, everybody, boys and girls. This is VOP TV. Do you know what that means? Voice of the People TV. You don't have a voice, don't come here. You better make sure your voice is heard.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV, now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The issues on Voice of the People television. Don't just react, understand. Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more, tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count. That's awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as they hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People television. Now you have more than a voice.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People television. We don't just bring you the news. We analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lawn.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things:
amidst the society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a
Well, thank you very much for joining us. Now, this is Newspaper Review. Welcome to the program. I am Moses Humphrey.
And I am Chukuma Okoro.
And of course, Jane Ogoye is right here, and Barrister Darlington Agomo joins the conversation as well. Barrister, good morning once again. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, once again.
Now, let's dive into it. Let's look at the headlines from the Guardian newspaper. Nigerians turn to survival business. Nigerians turn to survival businesses as formal jobs dry up. Nigerians turn to survival businesses as formal jobs dry up. And then there's a breakdown of it here. We have, and this is from the Guardian newspaper. Nigeria's informal economy is still largely young and growing. And then we have the breakdown of it. Basically, it emphasizes the fact that a lot of Nigerians are losing jobs, and some of them are moving away from, the regular office work, as it were, or white-collar job, as it were, and are doing things to survive, just to put food on the table. I don't know if you know a few people that have left the companies they used to work for to start riding keke because it brings in daily income.
Or Uber.
Yes, in fact, that's even a bigger one. It brings in daily income, and all of it is just to continue to keep food on the table. So that's what this is talking about. But let's also look at the riders to this story, because the riders here. Poor infrastructure support undermines entrepreneurship boom. New businesses take 24% of small savings, says report. Poor Nigerian savers prioritize Dirty December over health and education. Well, that's the breakdown of this headline there. Barrister, take your shot.
In fact, well, they said necessity is the mother of invention. Good. One thing with human beings is that we are designed to be ambivalent in character. Characteristics of a human being. Yes, when things change, you must change to survive. That's one of the adaptability of a human being. So I'm not surprised. The only thing is that how long will it continue?
Will this lead to
the
growth in the economy?
That is another thing. Because when you are doing all these small, petit, this thing, just to survive, what happened to the economy and the bigger businesses? What happened to them? So government should look at it. Don't follow Donald Trump in America. Because in America, the economy is different. Because Donald Trump is telling you that he has removed people from the bureaucracy, about 270,000 of them, and they are doing very well in the private sector and all that. Your economy is not like that, because Donald Trump brought in $18 trillion into the American economy, and this money is circulating within America, and this $18 trillion are new businesses and all that. So the people can get, jobs and bigger businesses from these companies and all that. In your own case, is that the same thing? The answer is no. So why do you always want to copy and do things when you are not looking at your antecedents, when you are not looking at where you're coming from? That is the bigger question. If you put in place all those things that will make the economy grow, the economy will just sprout up on its own. It's like a garden that is watered. In the morning, you see all the flowers sprouting up on their own because you are doing the right thing to that garden. Is that not true? So when you have not watered the economy, how will it grow? That is the issue here. This subsistence, whatever, it cannot last long. It cannot sustain this economy. It can never. Until big businesses pick up, the economy will not grow.
All right then.
Well, I would have wanted us to get into, what the government, what Guardian means by formal jobs. Like, is it blue collar, you and I that wear tie to office or work in established offices, and are we talking about the big corporations or the middle corporations?
It's basically talking about the white collar jobs.
That's the civil service job now. There's no job, no more job now.
Now, beautiful. Well, I also have a bit of understanding that most strong economies are driven by the informal sector. To the extent that they are large, they employ more people than the big corporations. If you put together the number of people that work in banks in Nigeria, if you have like 23 banks in Nigeria, I'm not sure that they have up to like 30,000 staff, or let's say they have 30,000 staff. But that 30,000 staff, you also have like 200 small businesses employing more than that in their hundreds.
Yeah. There's a headline, there's a writer here I would like you to also take note of. Poor infrastructure support undermines entrepreneurship boom.
Okay, poor infrastructure support,
Exactly.
like power.
Exactly.
That is what I said about watering the garden so that the flower will grow.
That's a problem. That's a problem. Even the big corporations are also facing those problems. Like I told a story of a telco managing director that said it would have been better for me if I would have made more money in Nigeria if I was running just a telecom firm. So when I asked him, which other firm do you run? He said he also runs a power generating company. So because he had to place 2 big generators in more than 3,000 base stations across the country. So infrastructure is an issue. But to the extent that is an issue, we are still trying to upscale the economy. Now, what I'm saying is that when people lose their job, it's unfortunate that they've lost their jobs. But if they have skills, that they were doing, they could multiply those skills and earn a living. That is where the economy grows. If we are looking at such a time that we have 1 million banks to employ 2 million people, and we have 50,000 manufacturing companies to employ 2 million Nigerians who will be scrolling at a snail speed, the emphasis should be more on, that is why the government has agencies like SMEDAN, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria. Their duty is to ensure that the middle base, these small companies that employ 8, 10, 15 people, that they remain stable to the extent. Because if you count their numbers, you discover that overall they employ more than the bigger corporations. And the essence of it is that to get everybody involved. I don't like what is happening. I don't like the fact that people are losing their job. But, well, there must be a way out of it.
But Mr. Okoro, I just wanted to take you on briefly. You talked about the fact that informal sector drives an economy. We know that. And in saner climes, one of the things that we know drives the economy is electricity, power. And we know that for those small-scale business owners to even thrive, you need electricity.
That's the infrastructure that they're talking about.
That's one of the things that administration after administration keeps promising.
It's a problem.
But from the look of things, as long as we still have the generator, the plant cartel, we cannot have stable electricity in Nigeria. The other day we were talking about the metering. And I think this morning on the front pages of one of the papers, they said NEPA. I said NEPA. What they call themselves now? Discos are now focusing on the band A customers.
Because they pay more.
Because they pay more, leaving the other low-end people. So you can see that there's still a disconnect.
No, there is. It exists. I understand. Everybody, even the government acknowledges that, look, that they need to do more, to empower. Yeah. And if you look back, in the life of the Buhari administration, what most of the governors were emphasizing at that point was, how do we empower the middle and small-scale businesses? Because they also know that is the engine of growth. That is the engine of economic growth. Until you get it right, like I keep saying, the big corporations are few and far between. And even when they do, how many people do they employ? The only thing you see is that in their end of year reports, you see billions of nairas and all of that. But this one, that's small companies. That is where the focus, that is where the emphasis should be. Because they employ 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10 people. The moment they become strong, the economy will pick up. But they can't pick up, the economy can't pick up until we have the basic infrastructure. And when we talk about infrastructure, look at the internal roads within the hinterland. A lot of farm products, perish in the bush, in the farms. Why? Because it is difficult to convert them. I know in my own community, There are products, that we produce inside, and by the time we try to bring them into the market space, some of them are perishable. So the rural roads, that is one thing that we miss. When we started DIFRI, Directorate of Rural and Rural Infrastructure, that was the brainchild of Babangida at that time. What the idea was to connect internal roads to the city centers, And Larry Konyan, the air vice marshal that was in charge, did a very good job at that time. But when Babangida left, Abacha came, we abandoned all of that. Rural roads to connect the rurals and the cities and farm settlements and the markets.
The worst culprit in this economic doldrum, the worst culprit in this unemployment is insecurity. Insecurity. 90% of northern youth supposed to be in their farmstead working, but all of them are in Lagos here riding Okada. Is that a developing economy?
Let's even tie this headline to another headline from the window headline from This Day newspaper. It reads, World Bank's Nigeria portfolio hits $16 billion amid efforts to accelerate growth, job creation. And the writers, in meeting with Jede, Sanwo-Olu reaffirms Lagos' readiness to partner bank to develop energy, agriculture, tourism, human capital, others. Visiting World Bank MD hails state's milestones under current administration, set to meet Shetima, Edu, Cardoso. IFC's investments hit $1.2 billion. Let's start the two headlines.
It is not enough to come and tell us paper achievements. Look, the economy is not stupid. Whenever the economy has picked up, you will feel it, I will feel it, every Nigeria will feel it. You don't need to tell us that the states are doing so well, the economy is doing so well. It must reflect in your life and in my life. That is the only way I will say yes. But when some people are being paid or are being advised to come and paint a rosy picture of what is not there, by the time you leave back to your country, the problem remains. How many times have you heard all this thing from World Bank and IMF? How many times? At the end of the day, the problem is still there. This power issue now, how many times have they told us that, yes, the right decision was taken, this and that? At the end of the day, what happened? Do you know how many people have shut down because of electricity? I mean, shut down. Companies, they cannot afford the diesel, and they cannot pay NEPA tariff. They just close shop. Is that not a problem? But what this same World Bank advised the government to increase it, to increase it. Meanwhile, they are enjoying this subsidy in their own countries. All of them in the Western world, they are enjoying subsidy on electricity, on health, on education, on food. But here, they advise our government, don't, it's like they feel we are enjoying too much, therefore they should punish us. We are tired of all these portfolio advisors who advise government.
But Barrister, let me check it up from where you left it. When I read this, they said World Bank's Nigeria portfolio hit $16 billion. So I was like, $16 billion, is it an investment or in lending?
They said portfolio. Portfolio, that's paper.
No, but it's paper. When they said it's, World Bank's Nigeria portfolio hits $16 billion. So I got curious and I went into the story, and they said ongoing approved development projects and lending operations. The key word there is lending. They have been lending us.
So if people have stolen the money, so you can imagine. You understand? You see how they measure.
They understand what they are doing. I wanted to see like World Bank say, well, we have invested, $16 billion
on so
trying to recoup. You have businesses. But I know that World Bank doesn't get into business. They can get into development projects. So, but I'm happy to that emphasize their lending portfolio, which means we've been taking money from them.
Of course.
Yes, we have.
We are taking money.
Oh, well.
And nobody's accounting for the...
That is the dangerous thing.
In fact.
Let's go virtual now. We have Olamide Enyola joining the conversation. He's an accomplished people development consultant and analyst with about almost 2 decades of cross-industry experience spanning Africa and the United Kingdom. Well, he joins us from the United Kingdom. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good to have you join the conversation.
Okay.
Very well, very well. Now, we tried reaching you earlier because we wanted you to talk about the tax policy, the tax laws in Nigeria, which I'm aware that you're quite vast in. But let's talk about this headline, and then we'll come to that much later. The headlines this morning. First, from the Guardian newspaper, Nigerians turn to survival businesses as formal jobs dry up. And let me quickly take you through the riders and then bring you into the other headline as well. The riders to that headline: poor infrastructure support undermines entrepreneurship boom. New businesses take 24% of small savings, says report. Poor Nigerian savers prioritize 30 December over health, education. We like groove, basically. That's what that means. And then also, World Bank's Nigeria portfolio hits $16 billion amid efforts to accelerate growth and job creation. In meeting with Jeddah, Sanwo-Olu reaffirms Lagos' readiness to partner a bank to develop energy, agriculture, tourism, human capital, others. And then, yes, so those are the headlines. What's your reaction to these headlines?
Thank you very much. So, it's unfortunate in terms of how formal jobs are drying up, but it's also not unexpected, right? So when you think about the structure of the Nigerian economy, you would not be very surprised. For many organizations or many countries that we know of, one of the things you would observe is that the structure of the economy is normally built on top of the informal sector. Exactly. What Nigeria has done over time is that we've focused a lot on building formal sectors, especially the big ones. But what we then find at the end of the day is that we do not have enough big ones. And even the big ones we have are not standing on local manufacturing. So what happens is that, so when you are fortunate to see the inputs for a lot of local manufacturers, you'd find that many of them import a lot of their raw materials. And that is where the missing link is, right? When you bring in a lot of your raw materials from outside, you have taken away opportunities for jobs and for capital accumulation and for capability building from your local people. Now, what happens is that when you have any form of shock, like we experienced in the last couple of years with the exchange rate, then your manufacturing base is in a mess, right? So for me, when news like this come up, it is not just about making the noise, it's about asking ourselves the question, do we now want to build correctly? Two things you'll find is that the input for many manufacturing is done from agriculture and from mining. That is where you get most of the inputs from. Okay. But in Nigeria, we do not have manufacturing and mining as a very structured environment. And I'll give you a few examples. If I ask you today that which company is the largest company that produces yam in Nigeria, we do not know, or tomatoes, or onions, or maize, or we cannot have a structure that is using this final product without building an infrastructural base, right? And it is those fundamental that you do not have the capability to support them, to deliver, to support the big organizations. And that, for me, is one of the things you'll find clearly. Now, when that happens, you'll see that the opportunity for us to have jobs will be at loss. Pay attention to companies that work closely with farmers, like the Baboganas, for instance, like your lambs. You will see that they are working with 200,000 farmers, 100,000 farmers here and there, but we do not have enough of those kind of companies, right?
Okay.
That which company is the largest transporter of food from the rural area to big cities like Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt? We do not really know which companies do that because it is done in small old bases. You do not build a proper economy without with that kind of a structure. Yeah.
So we should have more companies, do that aspect of the business, and then we can structure things properly.
No, it's not just about more companies, it's about having structure, right? So the problem is that we do not do structures in Nigeria, right? So what we do is we just do things as they come. And that was why I asked the question that we cannot today say we want to support the largest producer of cassava in Nigeria because it is scattered around, right? We cannot say we want to support the largest producer of onions because it is small, that's here and there. You cannot feed 230 million people with that lack of structure. We don't just organize ourselves enough. And the interesting thing about organization is that you don't start organizing from the top, right? You start organizing from the bottom. So one of the simplest things to do about organization is that there's no reason, for instance, where the largest association of yam producers in maybe Niger State is not a critical stakeholder in Niger State government, right?
Absolutely.
Just like we have in America, where we have the U.S. Grains Council. The U.S. Grain Councils, they look after grains production in America, and they're a very big part of every American government because America tries to export grains to the world. And that is the kind of thinking. The fundamental point I'm trying to make is that we are not a very organized group.
We're not a very organized. We organize in small groups. We have a Tomato Sellers Association in each market. And, you wonder where, how they come into a general body. And, we just have little groups here and there. And they're basically there to collect levies and dues and the rest of them. That's basically what they do. So that's not, yes. Well, thank you very much for that one. Now let's go into another headline. Now, Olamide, let me ask you this. This is not in the dailies right now. But I saw this story earlier. And we also touched on it earlier in the day, talking about the tax policies, the controversies around it, and what Nigerians need to know about taxes. This particular policy that the government has introduced. From over there, I'm sure you've been following the story back home in Nigeria. What do you have to say to, what do Nigerians need to know to understand? Because a lot of people are saying, look, I've been asked to pay 35 million or 1 million for, a number of years, a number of months, and I don't understand how they came about that money. A friend of mine actually complained that a certain amount of money got into his account meant to execute a business. And they told him that he was going to pay tax on the entire sum. And he's like, this entire sum is to execute the business, after which I will take the profit out of it. Shouldn't I be thinking about paying tax on the profit? And that was a conversation that went on and on. What's your understanding of it? How can you help us understand this better? Help the viewers as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's just unfortunate, the whole controversy, because for me, there needs to be no reason for controversy, and I'll try to explain what I mean. So before I go into the details, I need to first start with what I think the government did wrongly before I think maybe opportunity areas, right? So for me, generally speaking, I think it's a very good law that has been done. But I think what the government did wrongly was that they should have started enforcing the old laws a lot more strictly before they bring about this new one. And I'll try to explain to you what I mean. So if you have someone that didn't used to pay taxes, right? Used to evade taxes, I then tell the person, so the person was paying 0 naira in taxes, right? Whereas the person should be paying 20 naira in taxes. Then you don't bring a new tax law that reduces his 20 naira to 15 naira. However, you then tell the person to start paying 15 naira. The person is not seeing a reduction of 20 naira to 15 naira. What the person is seeing is an increase of 0 naira to 15 naira. And I think that's the biggest problem that the government has, and they would have for a long time. Because clearly anybody that can read, that is objective enough, we see clearly that the government's aim is to reduce the budget. But the fundamental problem is that it's in an economy or in a country where people were not paying at all. But what the government was looking at is that if you were paying, you'd have been paying this, now you're paying less. But for many people, it is that I was paying 0, I'm not required to pay more. That's number 1 point. Number 2 point is based on your friend. I'm really surprised. I wonder who was asking your friend to pay taxes, because number 1, you don't just pay taxes arbitrarily, right? Taxes are supposed to be on profits. It is clear. It is clear. So the whole point is somebody trying to rip up your friend, because again, it is not how taxes are calculated. Taxes are calculated after profit is being made, right? And the as a matter of fact, we should also remember that taxes are not a uniquely Nigerian thing, right? And one of the things they've tried to do with the tax law in Nigeria is to modernize it, which means that it's in alignment with most countries of the world. So the question we ask ourselves is that which countries in the world do people just pay taxes on deposits in their bank accounts now? It's almost zero. But one of the points you need to take note of is if you find that you are doing a lot of transactions in your personal account, and then you need to be a lot more serious, because what would happen is if you are doing a lot of transactions in your personal account and you then at the end of the year say your tax is 200,000 naira, for instance, and you've done maybe 500 million naira worth of transactions in your account, then you need to have a lot more documentation to prove that the transactions that were going through your account is not income to you, it is to do something. And it's very easy to find, by the way, because as the money comes into your account, you're paying other people as well, right? And there will be evidence that those other people are being paid. So there's that point. Now, to land on the point about whether it's actually a good tax for the people or not, is to look at it on individual basis, right? So you look at individuals, you look at we look at the businesses, and even we look at the government, right? Because those are the three agents in the economy. If you look at the GDP, right, it is consumption, investment, and government expenditure. So consumption is individuals, investment is business, and government expenditure is government, right? So when you look at the impact on each of those things, we then have the answer. So the first one is individual. When you think about the individual, right, the individual consumption is reflected on what you call disposable income. And what is your disposable income? Your disposable income is your gross income minus your taxes. Now, any laws that reduce your taxes has increased your disposable income. That means you should have a lot more money to spend. And we've seen it clearly that in the new tax law, a lot of people are exempted. As a matter of fact, I've not seen any markets or any country where you have more people exempted from paying taxes as we do in Nigeria. So that's one point to take. Let's go to the company side of things. The company side of things has reduced the company income taxes by 5%. So before now, company income taxes in Nigeria was 30%. Now it's reduced to 25%, which is moving it closer to the global average in taxes. Before this reduction, Nigeria was one of the highest company income taxes in the world, which when you compare with other countries in Africa, because Africa is a very high company income tax environment, so we are more or less in the middle around Africa. But with this 5% reduction, we are one of the lowest in Africa today, and we are now getting a bit more competitive when you look at it globally. So companies directly should be happy. Now, what should happen on the surface is that companies should be able to transfer some of the profits to either their investors or even you see the difference in the prices of their products. There's that side of things. There's also the ability for them to claim impute VAT, which also should reduce their cost. So clearly you can see that for consumption, for individuals and government, is a lot of collect. Now there's the slight increments that we are going to have in capital gains tax, right? But the thing about capital gain tax is when you look at the exposure of taxes to businesses, capital gains is one of their smallest cost items. So it's not. Okay. So it's an increase, but when you compare with total number of reduction, see that is there. Then the final one is the government. With this new thing, government in the immediate term should be collecting less money. And the reason is because, like I said, they've reduced a lot of their percentages. I don't know why they took that decision, because I don't think the government that is broke should be reducing their ability to earn money. Let's be clear. However, I know that in the future, they are going to, when things improve, because at the end of the day, right, when you look at the theory of economic development, you see that they've done all the theories correctly. The problem is always how people respond to theories, right? Okay. When people do not believe in theories, they sabotage it unknowingly. So we need to think about it in that light.
All right, thank you very much, Olamide and with these few points of yours, I think you have not convinced me that the government is after my money. You have not convinced me to think otherwise. But anyway, we'll like you to come again, maybe, and then we'll break this down further. But in the meantime, let's continue with the headlines from the dailies. Now, I still have the business, the Guardian newspaper. Now, let's talk politics now. 2027, Atiku holds talks with ADP leaders amid Obi Kwankwanso Alliance rumor. Quickly run to the riders, gives us a better understanding of the headlines there. So, ADC accuses APC of forcing civil servants into e-registration. Barrister Darlington, I hope you're listening.
I do.
OT, Labour Party remains strong despite Obi's exit. PDP steps up unity drive. Alliance talks ahead of 2027 polls. Interesting headlines there. And there was a Labour Party ADC meeting in Lagos over the weekend, which was disrupted by over 100 unidentified hoodlums. And I like that term, unidentified hoodlums, like unknown gunmen and the rest of them. So, well, that's that headline. Yes. So, Barrister Darlington.
Yes.
Talk to me.
Let me start from the last statement about unknown gunmen and hoodlums.
No, that's just off the cuff. It's not in the papers.
Sorry?
That's just off the cuff. That's
but
me talking.
it was hoodlum that disrupted the meeting.
No, I'm saying that's not part of the headline. That's just that's just an ad lib.
But some people wanted to defect, Abi, from Labour Party to ADC, I think. Is that not true?
At the meeting held in Lagos.
So something happened.
In Alimosho in Lagos.
Yes, something happened because Alimosho is the biggest local government in Lagos State. Have you noticed that each time any of the opposition want to do something in Alimosho, there's always disruption? Have you noticed? Always. And this is not good for our democracy. Look, I will advise the ruling party, they should checkmate their supporters. Because this thing can cause a very huge problem. One day, the opposition may rise up to defend themselves and others, and there will be conflagration. By then, you will now start looking for whom to blame. So whoever is behind all these things, all these distortions of meeting, they should stop it. That is my take here. Then Atiku and the people holding meeting, it is left for them to decide how best to challenge the ruling party.
Okay.
It is left for them because they have an opportunity now to do the right thing. They don't need to be told the mood of the country and what is expected of them. So if they now falter, if they now disappoint the people, then well and 2031 is there waiting for everybody.
All right.
I would like for us to take a peep into that meeting. Why is Atiku holding meeting with ADP? Because of Obi Kwankwanso Alliance. Is he scared? Does he think like, is he trying to port to ADP, or does he feel that, well, Obi and Kwankwanso Alliance might just take the ticket away from him in 2027?
It's not trading. They are negotiating.
Well, we can't go into
I want us to get the meat of it all.
Yeah, well, the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar held a high-level consultative meeting with the leadership of the Action Democratic Congress, ADP, at his Abuja residence at the weekend. And the meeting was confirmed by ADP National Chairman Yabagi Yusuf Sani, who described it as a part of the party's ongoing engagement with key democratic stakeholders.
Okay, probably because you know the headline says Amid Obi Kwankwanso Alliance. You know, so I wanted to find out, is Atiku scared of Obi and Kwankwanso, or is he trying to bring in another party, you know, a chunk of structure into the ADC?
Okay,
so
now
you want to run on that?
Sani also dismissed speculation that the meeting was aimed at merging parties or recruiting individuals into ADP, stressing that the engagement was part of broader consultations with senior democratic stakeholders.
Okay, so the picture is not clear. But for them to be meeting, I'm following the Guardian's headline, you know, Amid Obi Kwankwanso Alliance. It could be that, well, if Atiku must feel strongly, if these people are ganging up against me in this ADC, I might just have a window, you know, where I can slip into if Shove comes to push in 2026 during the primaries, you know. Or is it trying to say, okay, ADP, let's have a structure in ADP that we can also bring in to counterbalance what the Kwankwanso and the immediate movement are coming with in the ADC. You understand? So, because if you combine the obedient movement and the Kwankwanso movement, it becomes huge. It becomes an asset, in the ADC. And you know how primaries are conducted based on delegates. Where are the delegates coming from? 36 states of the Federation and Abuja.
But if you look at Kwakwanso, he has lost Kano. I hope you know. Kwakwanso is no longer a strong force in Kano.
No, he hasn't lost Kwakwansia movement.
Eh?
He still has the movement.
He still has the movement.
No, how many of them? That is the issue here, because the governor have taken a large chunk
Over a million of them.
Barrister, they are still there. The fact that the Kwakwansia movement didn't join Yusuf to the APC. Yusuf went to APC because of survival. He wants 2027. That's why he went to the APC.
He could have still made it. After all, it's a Kano. All he needed is to warm his...
I'm not sure he was guaranteed of 2027. Look at Gandhi was national chairman of the APC. He lost Kano to NNPP. So I think what Yusuf did is to hedge his bets. Let me see, because I think it's most likely that the APC will protect me, that the president will protect me, knowing that Kano is a swing state, it's a tough ground with over 2 million votes. So if I'm able to work with the president to capture it, I think it will be safer for me than to be playing along with NNPP. Now, this one that my godfather is talking about, going to deputize for Peter Obi, and he knows clearly that if Okwanso goes to ADC, now the APC will come very hard down on Kano State. So it becomes a tug of war. And I'm sure it is that tug of war that he doesn't want to get involved in. That's why he, gravitated towards the APC.
Well, if the people of Kano, that I know very well, if they vote according to what I'm thinking, they will go with Kwakwansia. And that means the governor may not even get what he was promising.
But you just said that Kwakwanso has lost Kano.
Because when I said they are lost Kano, it's because I thought he may be going to APC to cause confusion for the governor. But now he's thinking of coming to ADC. That means he's going to split. Because whether you like it or not, the governor is going to get some small chunk from the Kwakwansia movement, being a governor. There must be loyalists.
Okay. Well, thank you. Let's move away from this conversation. There's another headline I would like us all to touch on from the Punch newspaper, and then we'll also take it from this day newspaper.
Yeah, so cool. I was marked for arrest and assassination. That's the defense minister.
Christopher Musa.
Yeah.
Christopher Musa. Okay.
Well, it's from this day. Sorry, from this day newspaper. The headline also reads, "Coup attempt." In fact, it's the big story on this thing. It says, "Coup attempt. I was targeted for elimination," says defense minister. Says Interpol after civilian suspect on the run. Discloses Nigeria security pact with Turkey not to spite US. And wait for this one. "I am in political transition. Could join APC soon," says ex-CDS.
No, that was the big story of the weekend.
Interesting.
That was the big story of the weekend.
Interesting.
Because the anchor asked him, are you joining APC? He said, I might join APC.
He's a minister under the APC, so why wouldn't he join the APC?
So why wouldn't you join the APC? So when people say that he's transitioning, from the army, from the military, to the ministerial position was simply, and he's not a politician.
He's not a politician.
He's not a politician. So when he says some of the things that he says, people should understand him. Now speaking from the political perspective.
Well, let me quickly run to Olamide. Let's
and I know for this man to come back after he was put out of the military, the government has something for him.
Of course, it's the botched coup, so the alleged botched coup.
I know that something is coming for him.
Olamide, please, what's your take on this one? If you have a contribution, go ahead, please. You might need to unmute your device so we can get your audio feed. Okay, I understand that we've lost connection to Olamide Enyinla, who joined us earlier from the United Kingdom. Well,
this issue of Christopher Musa is interesting, and I like the position Barrister is taking now. When Christopher Musa was removed as chief of defense staff, that point, it coincided with the coup rumor that time when he was removed. And when he was brought back as minister, Barrister Darlington's position then, Mr. Agomo's position then was that the man that they just disgraced out of office, that they are now bringing him back as minister. I said, was he disgraced? Because the issue, what we were told that he was removed because he leaked the coup.
Yes.
I said they couldn't have removed the man that leaked the coup and saved their lives. If he leaked the coup, then they should compensate him for doing that. You don't remove a man for leaking a coup. You don't punish him. Does it look like you were not in support of the coup? Now everything is very clear. And I understand that the president has what he's doing. If you look at Christopher Musa, I understand, comes from Kaduna State, Zango Kataf area, you know,
and he's a Christian.
And he's a Christian, and he's been talking tough.
Yeah.
So he's more like a buffer. They're using him as a buffer. He's experienced. You know, he's a retired general of the army, tried and tested. You know, for him to have leaked a coup means that, well, there's some kind of patriotic zeal that he has. And I think the president is using him for something. But whether that will work is a different thing, because it's going to come against very, very powerful forces. Forces that are supporting, forces that are in support of the insecurity. Not because they are making money essentially out of it, but because the insecurity thing is a plan for them to get at something.
And then
Christopher Musa is going to be like a bulwark against that plan. So they will come after him. So he needs to be stronger in what is in his efforts.
And with this Muslim Christian ticket in the offing, I think he will make a good candidate here. That is what I think.
Well, it will be too early to complain, to contemplate on that, because I don't know if he has the clout, you know,
to run for office.
No, he has, I mean, what is he bringing to the table?
Is the experience?
Experience in military,
and his loyalty,
and is the loyalty. I mean the political capital he's coming with in terms of does he have followership.
Christians in the north will rally around him now. Yes,
I think so.
Christians
in the north, yeah, they will rally.
What's the population? Big anyway, but are they able to counter the other? It's going to be. I never thought about him coming in as running mate to the president, but well, let's see how.
I don't see that's happening. I don't see that happening.
But there must be something for him.
He's already a minister.
He's a minister. That's something enough.
A minister.
You know. Oh well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for your contribution. This on newspaper review, but that's it on the show. Big thanks to Barrister Darlington Agumo, Chukwuma Okoro as well, who doubles as an analyst. Well, he will be back here tonight at 6 p.m. on Political Lens. I'm sure he'll be traveling around the nation, bringing you political stories.
With Barrister
Darlington.
And we'll talk about articles meeting with the ADP. What does it hold for ADC, P2B and Kokwanso?
All right, there you have it.
Did I hear you are going around the country?
There you have it. There you have it.
You are sure we'll go with
the conversation for later this evening on Political Lens. Thank you very much. You shouldn't miss that one. Well, Jane, thank you very much for your contribution as well. Jane Ogoye, my colleague here. Well, that's it on the show. I'm Moses Humphrey. Wishing you a beautiful morning. Stick around. Sports comes up next on VOP TV. Bye for now.
In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world and the economy that determines our future.